Hello viewers. Now, mean reversion is a trading strategy growing in popularity, but many of you start it and give up because it doesn't work as you expected, and there's many reasons for that. A lot of you think out there that it's just to do with overbought and oversold conditions. It's certainly not that. You need mean reversion to be telling you when the conditions are right for mean reversion, and that's what this video is all about. It's going to give you the background to what mean reversion is. It's going to tell you what works, what doesn't work, and how you can spot when mean reversion is in existence. And also on top of that, what are the tools you need to use? What can you get your hands on that's easily usable to create a strategy that is going to give you that edge? And I've got 10 of those indicators, and I'm going to rank them and I'm going to put them into their best use cases as well. And we're going to go through all the concepts of mean reversion so you can come away understanding exactly what you need to do next. So let's get into it. Now, mean reversion as a concept is quite straightforward and easy to visualize, but actually doing it in practice is a much harder thing. So basically, mean reversion is the idea that price can move too far away from its local average or equilibrium, and when that move becomes too stretched, price often starts moving back toward that average. It does not mean every sell-off bounces or every rally collapses. It means markets often overshoot in the short term, and those overshoots can create opportunities, as you can see on the chart there. Notice I haven't called it overbought and oversold. I've called it overshoot, and that is very deliberate. And in the illustration there, you can see when we get to those overshoot points that the price, the hypothetical price there, reverts back towards that mean average price. That really is it. So why does mean reversion happen? Mean reversion exists because markets are emotional, imbalanced and noisy in the short term. Panic can push prices too low, greed can push prices too high. Stops get triggered, order flow gets lopsided, and short-term emotion can create overshoots. Once that pressure fades, profit taking or normalization can pull that price back. So this is where most traders get mean reversion wrong. They reduce it to lazy rules like RSI oversold means buy or RSI overbought means short. That is not a framework. That is just a trigger with no context. Real mean reversion trading needs more than that. If you want true mean reversion rather than simple overbought or oversold logic, you need to measure three things. Number one, stretch, how far price is from its local average. 2, regime, whether the market is actually behaving in a mean reverting way. 3, speed, whether that reversion tends to happen quickly enough to trade. That is why this tool I'm just about to show you is quite useful, because it separates the problem properly. So this is a tool I put together to capture those three elements that we need for mean reversion. It's not a buy-sell machine. In future videos, I'm going to do strategies around this concept. These scoring approaches that you'll see in a minute on its own, and plus a Renko mean reversion. But I've focusing on WTI because it's one of my favourite mean reverting markets. I've tested it thoroughly. It does well for me, but I just wanted to show you the concept of the three categories here. We've got the stretch, the regime and the speed. Now I score all those, and I've got these 10 indicators which we're going to go through in a minute, ranked, and how you can put them into the different buckets, stretch, regime and speed, to then create an overall composite score to know whether something is mean reverting or not, and when is the right time to be mean reverting. Now this here very quickly goes through all these different indicators, and it creates an overview which it gives you a reading down the bottom here telling you what it thinks of the actual score from the indicator. And as you can see at the moment, crude oil heading on upwards still, but the interesting thing here is that the composite score is only 64 out of 100. We've got good strong stretch, so it's moving away from its mean very nicely, but the regime and the speed are just not there yet. I'm looking for scores around 75 before I would take action on that trade. And you can play around, you can see there, with all the variables if you want to create your own type mean reverting. But that is, an example, what I wanted to show you of how you can put together and use mean reversion properly, not just overbought, oversold indicators. You can see I've actually in this example combined all 10 there to come up with a composite score. So now that I've mentioned the 10, let's go through those 10. What are they good for, how we can use them, and like I said, what bucket would they fall into? So here is my top 10. They are ranked. It's not in best to worst. It's not a popularity list. It's a usefulness list. And you'll notice it's not just a pile of oscillators. Proper mean reversion work needs stretch tools, regime filters, and speed measures. So let's get into them. Rolling Z score is one of my favourites because it's the cleanest pure measure of stretch. It tells you how many standard deviations price is away from its rolling mean. That gives you a proper statistical expression of extension. It's far better than just saying price looks stretched. The downside is that a strong trend can keep Z score extreme for longer than you expect, and the look back window does matter. Now I'll switch the view to the Z score mode, and how can we use it? Well, we use it to identify meaningful stretch. Readings above +2 suggests strong upside stretch. Readings below -2 suggest strong downside, and at the moment we're at 2.286, so it's looking likely that there's a short side mean reversion play on the cards, but it's not definite yet. Now, Bollinger %B is basically the chart facing version of normalized stretch. It tells you where price sits relative to the Bollinger bands. That makes it very useful visually. It's better than just looking at the bands and guessing. The weakness is that it is still a band-based tool rather than a deeper statistical test, and it can stay pinned in strong trend expansion or beyond the upper or lower volatility envelope. And in our example, you can see that the latest reading, 1.0628, is above the upper Bollinger band, again suggesting, not definite, that we are due a short side reversion. Short-term RSI is still a very good practical trigger for short horizon mean reversion, especially RSI 2 to RSI 5. It's fast, responsive and useful when paired with a proper framework, but it's not enough on its own. RSI is the trigger, not the whole process. So I've got the RSI set to very fast in this WTI hourly chart candlestick setup. How do we use it? Well, it's a trigger. Once stretch and regime are already supportive of it, that's when we utilize it. And if we zoom in there, we can see latest RSI 97.87, so very overbought on a short horizon basis, but we pair it up with the other mean reverting tools. We don't use it solely on its own. Now we're going a bit statistical with this one. The lag one autocorrelation looks at how current movement relates to the immediately prior movement. So negative readings can support the kind of back and fill behavior mean reversion traders want. It's harder to read than RSI, but is much more honest than saying a market just looks choppy. So how do we use this one? Well, we use it as a structural filter. Negative readings support reversion. Positive readings can point more towards persistence. And if we actually zoom in on our example, readings 0.8438, suggesting that that WTI trend is more persistent and likely to continue. One you might not have heard of before, the ADF test is one of the best tools for asking the bigger question, should I even be applying a mean reversion idea here? It's not a timing signal, it's a regime filter. It helps test whether the series behaves more like something stationary rather than something that just wanders. So here's our ADF setup. How do we use it? Well, before taking the trade idea seriously, the ADF here helps answer whether the mean reversion is even a sensible framework for this market right now. And if we zoom in, currently the ADF p-value is above 0.05 stationarity, so it's given us weak evidence at the moment that there is likely to be a mean reversion play anytime soon. The KPSS test, another one you might not have heard about, but it's a useful addition to our analysis because it complements the ADF very well. Together, they give you a stronger read on whether the market is behaving in a way that supports mean reversion. On its own, it's less intuitive. Used with the ADF, it becomes far more valuable. So remember, if you want to use this one, use it alongside the ADF, not instead of it. And you can see there we've got a score of 0.1. Stationarity is rejected, and you can see that's why probably we had such a low regime score there, 45 out of 100 mixed at the moment, because those just weren't lining up. The Hurst exponent helps tell you whether the market is more anti-persistent, random or persistent. For mean reversion work, lower readings are more supportive. It's not a trigger, it's a behavioural filter. Is much better than just saying this market feels range bound. So how do we use it then? It's to understand the character of the market, not to time the actual entry. And we can see from our result, we got 0.3069, anti-persistent, mean reverting tendency. So, it's looking not too bad there in that example for potential mean reverting move. So number 8, we've got our variance ratio test. It asks whether the series behaves like a random walk. If it departs from that in the right way, that can support a mean reversion case. It's not as visually intuitive as an RSI or Bollinger %B, but it adds rigor and stops you building a whole trade idea around feel alone. So use the variance ratio as another regime filter, not a standalone trigger. Our score here, 0.7497. It's below 1, indicating that we got some possible mean reverting tendency playing out. I really like the half-life measure. It's massively important because a market can be mean reverting on paper and still be useless if the reversion takes too long. So time is risk, time is cost, time is opportunity cost. Half-life helps answer whether the reversion is fast enough to matter. So I find this a really good measure, the half-life. It helps you when you're assessing by time frame the different markets, assets you're trading, when you get into Renko as well. And as you can see on our example here, we've got a half-life of 6.13, meaning that, it's short and it's about 6.1 bars. So here, in this example, because it's on the hourly candlesticks, that means just over 6 hours of time. Our 10th tool, co-integration plus spread Z score. This is a specialist tool in the list. It mainly for pairs and relative value work in trading rather than single assets like WTI analysis. Co-integration much stronger than simple correlation because it tests whether there is a meaningful long run relationship between the two series. For pairs traders, this can be one of the most important tools there is. Now remember, use this combo for spreads and pairs, not standalone assets like WTI for mean reversion. But as you can see, I just put it on there for illustrative purposes. And for just going through its sake, we know about the Z score already. We know that that is strong at the moment for a possible reversion down there. The raw spread itself, the co-integration spread there, shows the actual price difference between WTI and adjusted by the hedge ratio against it. And the current spread, 0.0927, well, basically means the raw difference is small, but what matters is whether that difference is unusual relative to its own history. So can't really take too much from this, but like I said, for pairs trading, this is a very good tool indeed. So I hope you've seen and you now realise that one indicator is not enough. A market can be stretched but not truly mean reverting. It can look mean reverting in theory but take too long to snap back. It can have a good regime but no actual stretch right now. That is why combining these measures matters. Now, how the tools, help our decision making. Well, this is where the tool becomes useful. It combines the problem into one clear framework. Composite score tells you the overall quality of the current setup. Stretch tells you whether price is actually extended. Regime tells you whether mean reversion is statistically plausible. Speed tells you whether the snapback tends to happen quickly enough, and bias tells you which side is stretched. Now, I've put it together in a tool, my own custom built tool, but you guys, set something up maybe in TradingView on the charts to do that, or in whatever format that you want to. But I combined that into one composite score just to make it easier to read. Putting it into practice, the practical workflow is simple. First, we check whether stretch is actually high. Second, check whether the bias is clear. Third, check whether regime is supportive or only mixed. And fourth, check whether speed is workable. Then confirm the read on those key tools, whether it's Z-score, %B, RSI, half-life. That gives you a much more serious decision process than one oversold reading. And if we jump back to my tool, actually during the time we've been recording this, we actually see the stretch has turned to 100, so really strong now, and we can see that price moving on up, trending up nicely on the hourly chart. Strong day there for WTI. So that's our stretch score there, 100 out of 100, but our regime 45 out of 100 and speed 48 out of 100. So still mixed. We got the short side reversion, but still not the right time. We've only got 65 out of 100. I'm probably going to get interested at 75, 80 out of 100, and we can go down to our analysis where we can pull to pieces each individual tool, how it came up with that component score, composite score 65 out of 100. And like we said, at the moment it's teeing itself up for a possible reversion, but it's still trending up nicely. It's not the right time. So there you go. What have we learned? So we now know that mean reversion is not just about being overbought and oversold and getting in. It's about stretch, regime and speed. And you've got to be measuring those in combination if you want the best chance of getting a mean reversion strategy to actually work. So I've been thinking while making this that I'm probably going to, and you can let me know if you want me to do this in the comments below the video, produce 2 further videos. I'm going to do a Renko mean reversion strategy setup, and also just one based on what we've seen today in the tool. Can that work on the hourly charts for WTI? What sort of backtesting results will we get if we just based ourselves off a rule set around maybe that combination signal? If it was greater than 75, 80 score, is that the time to sell? What will we get in terms of results? Let me know in those comments whether you want me to do that sort of stuff. And also let me know, how you use mean reversion. Love to hear your ideas and thoughts on how you do that. That'd be interesting to know. And if you liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification buttons, because plenty more content coming your way. And if you want to find out more about what I do, visit the website www.TheStopHunter.co.uk.